What is up, YouTube? Sort of going back to the whole thing I sort of started about documenting my free-to-play, no healing, maximum difficulty run. I wanted to sort of list and make a video on each boss for holograms. What there's holograms, and then what tower, I guess I could do it on Tower Versity. Each reset, I guess, would be cool. And I wanted to sort of maybe give tips and advice on each of those bosses that maybe, like, insight that I have that most people normally wouldn't get because usually healers are used. And Aix being one of the quote-unquote easiest boss, which it is. I have a difficulty 5. The only thing stopping me from 6 is DPS. But it is the easiest boss, but I would say it's also the most annoying and feels the worst to fight. Well, actually, in my opinion, okay, little sidetrack. I feel like the Huron is the worst to fight. Anyways, Aix is the third worst to fight in my opinion, because the moves are pretty hard to read, and it does the little, if it squirms, it does the little, which move is it? Oh, I grabbed you! Alright, now, does that, and then it gives you crazy back shots, and it impregnates you for the next 9 months. Now, unfortunately, there's not too much outplay for that, except for get good. But something that I used, because every single mistake I made in that fight was a one-shot, especially with the Aix's debuff of, it puts the debuff on you, and then you can't dodge anymore. So, the second I get hit is immediate death. A couple things that I learned are learn the easy attacks to parry, being the big hug. The one that looks like he's backing up to attack, where he squiggles up a little bit and then does a grab. That one's very easy to parry because it looks like you don't know what he's doing. It really does. It looks like you have no idea what he's doing, but the second you see his hands go like this, just parry his ass. It sounds really hard, but the second you do it once, it's easy as hell. And essentially that attack is free DPS. I would say though, the attacks that aren't worth parrying are probably the only one realistically that's not worth parrying. I have a very hard time parrying the one where he flies up and over and really high up in the sky and then back around. That one's very hard to parry. So I would recommend just dodging that, just biting the bullet until I figure out an easy way to parry it. I just suck, I guess. I couldn't figure out how to parry it. Every single other grab attack is actually quite easy to parry once you learn the timings, because the parry circle isn't a normal parry circle. It's pretty much just where his hand, you look at his hands. When those flash, and his wings, I guess. When his wings and hands flash, that's the parry circle. It's not the big old circle like on his chest. You just look at his hands. It makes it way easier. So use his hands instead of anywhere else to judge when to parry. But to sort of end that off on is his grabs are a lot easier to parry than you think, especially using Rover because she has a very vertical swing. Calcharo will probably be a little more tricky, but Rover has a very easy time parrying that boss. Yinlin too. Yinlin's very easy to parry with, I think. At least for her first move. I don't know about any other move in her set, but her opening move is very easy to parry with. One other thing I would say is if you can't parry an attack just because bad positioning, or he does the freaking swoop-de-doop, I'll call it the, what should we call it? What? The convection attack? Because, you know, air goes like the convection current. Sorry, Techie just sneezed. Bless you, Techie. When he does the big loop and you have to dodge it, every time you dodge a parryable attack, he does a punish. He does the punish. That's what causes him to do the feathers. So he'll do the feather attack, and my advice for dodging that is 1, a slight amount of luck, and 2, because it's kind of, that attack is so lame, but 2, be sort of a medium distance away from him, and that's pretty much it. Because if you're too close, the feathers will actually loop. So you're here, the feathers will loop. If he's shooting at you from right here, they'll go towards you, and then you dodge backwards, and they'll miss, and then they'll circle around and go back again, because they have travel time. They have a certain amount of travel time you have to do. So if you're at a medium distance, and if you're too far, the timing just feels really off, and it's kind of hard for me to dodge personally, mentally, because they take so long to reach you. But if you're a medium distance away, they're pretty easy to dodge. You just dodge, 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 and then it's done. So, and you can always predict when it's going to happen, because he does a grab attack. Every time he misses a parryable grab attack, he always does that punish, every single time. So every time you miss one, just immediately back up to a medium distance and just prepare yourself for the worst. And honestly, switch to your character you don't mind dying and pray to God. Another tip I would sort of have is all of his attacks come out at very weird times because, like I said earlier, they're very hard to read. And because they're so hard to read, you can always dodge a lot sooner than you would normally think. Because sometimes he'll do his classic little... He'll do the little wiggle and then fling his tail out. When you think he's going to do the grab, he'll fling his tail out and smack it with it. It's pretty quick. But dodging a little sooner than you think, because the dodge timer is very, very forgiving is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, very forgiving in this game. For those attacks, just dodge a lot sooner than you would think, because his attacks can come out a lot quicker than you think. And if it's the wrong attack, you can just dodge, and then if it's like, oh shoot, oh frick, oh fuck, it's the long attack, you just dodge again. Easy. Now, for his freaking, what I'll call the million billion wombo combo, the one where he like hits, big hits, little hits, big hits, that combo, I personally advise either one for a little bit, just backing up and learning the timings, because that's pretty much just all Wuthering Waves. It's just learning timings pretty much, and a DPS check. For my opinion, the difficulty of Wuthering Waves is 90% a DPS check, 10% like a sort of, aside from Mephis. Mephis is a giga skill based fight, but all the other bosses in the game feel very DPS checky, and Aix has the lowest HP in the game, so he's not that bad. But once you learn the timings of his million billion and his grab attacks, this fight becomes and the feathers. The fight becomes a freaking joke. And I think that's I think Aix is definitely the easiest boss once you learn the feathers, because TLDR of all of what I just said. The feathers will always do the punish after you miss a grab. So just dodge those, go to a medium distance, and the grabs, you should try to learn the parry, because it's a lot of free damage, and it's way easier than you think, especially when you look at his hands as opposed to like a normal circle that you're looking for a parry timer. And just dodge a little sooner than you think, because the attacks you can't parry come out at very weird times, and it's a little hard to predict. So even with the feathers, feel free to dodge slightly early, because you'll still get the proc usually. But that's pretty much it for Aix, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you.